Your boots are wrong. I've been working to professionally fit outdoor footwear for almost 2 years now, and this is how you fit a boot. You always want your boots to be fitting perfectly. No matter what you're doing, you're going to be in them for really long periods of time. So the first thing I'd say is never buy online, unless you already know what fits you. Always go in store and try a pair of boots on before you commit to anything, because they can be a large investment, and a good pair of boots should be a really good investment. They should last you a really long time. So step one, you've gone into a shop. Go somewhere like Cotswold, Go Outdoors, wherever you might find your pair of boots. What you want to be checking for is any immediate pressure points. So anything around the side of the toe, on the instep of the arch, and anything just immediately as you put it on that might tell you, this is gonna wear away on a really long day out. If there's no immediate sort of niggles or pains as you've put the boot on, well done, that's probably the right boot shape for you. So there's different sorts of shapes of boots. If you've got really wide feet, you'll fit really well into a German brand like Hanwag, Meindl. If you've got quite narrow feet, Scarpa tends to be the go-to, as well as the Italian brands. When you've got that boot on, just go ahead and pull the laces nice and snug. They don't need to be overly tight, but a good sort of fit. And then go ahead and do them all the way up. Once you've put them on and you've done both laces on both shoes, just go and walk around with them. See what they feel like. Just get moving, do a couple of movements, some exercises. Just see what the general fit's like. Now that you've got the boots on and your feet have sort of gotten used to them, really good thing to do is find yourself a sort of incline or a little bit of a hill. There's two things that you're going to do to check that this boot fits right. Once you've got yourself a nice hill like this, two things you're going to do. First one is a little bit of tiptoeing. So on the way up the hill, just really lean into every step, really lean forwards, and if you want, just bounce on your tiptoes, just like that. Now what we're looking for is movement of the heel sliding up and out of that position. Generally, what we say, anything under 5mm, that can be fixed. What do I mean by that? Well, you've probably tied your laces the normal way. There's different ways you can tie your laces to make sure your ankle stays locked in. If that bit of movement is there, it's not bothering you, it's under about 1mm, that's perfectly fine. Right, your boot is going to break into the shape of your foot, and it's going to conform to the way you walk and how they're being used. As you walk, your feet are going to expand, and they're going to fill that little bit of 1mm gap there. If that gap's too big, you're still going to have movement. If that gap's too small, you're going to have pressure. So your boots definitely aren't too small, but are they too big? On this same bit of incline, we're going to stamp our feet on the way down and look for any sliding forwards of the foot inside of the boot. Let me show you what that looks like. The sensation that we're after is that your sort of boot's hitting the floor, it's in position, and then your foot continues to slide forwards towards potentially hitting the end of the boot, or just lots and lots of movement. If that's happening, way too big, right? If that's maybe you're wearing a 10.5, go a half size down, go down to a 10, see how that feels. Again, check pressure points, start the process from the beginning. If 10.5's too big, 10's too small, maybe look for a different brand. Different brands fit different feet shapes, so it's all very nuanced and it's difficult to get right on the first shot. So we've got a lot of the hard work done already. You found a boot, it's not too big, it's not too small, but maybe there's just that bit of heel movement that you're not too happy with. Maybe you're between two boots and you want to see what fits better. Well, there's a way you can tie your laces to make sure that your heel stays properly locked in. The way this lacing structure works, it's essentially a surgeon's loop at the bottom followed by a top hook cross around the top two buckles. So I'm going to just do an example for the most common type of buckle, which is the boot with two buckles above the ankle. So we're just going to pull the tension tight in the bottom of the boot. If you've got ankle buckles on the side, make sure to do those up. And then we're going to do what's called a surgeon's loop. So that's essentially where you X the laces up, and then you wrap one side around the lace 3 or 4 times. What that will allow you to do is have two different tensions within the lace. So around the bottom of the foot, you want it nice and snug, but not overly tight. You want to, again, just secure that nicely in place, and then exit round again. And then if you've got two buckles, you're going to jump straight to the top buckle on each side, pull that round down the top, cross it over again, and then over to the middle buckle. Now, The reason I'm doing this first is because this is the most common type of boot. So if you've got problems with your heel lifting during that, that's the most secure way to keep that boot in there, in that position. So if you've got a taller boot like mine with a couple more buckles, the same sort of thing still applies. So we'll go from back to that surgeon's loop. Again, pull that nice and snug. That lets you have 2 tensions in the boot. A longer boot like mine, the same structure follows. You just exit over once more, and then you can start crossing up all the way to the top of the boot. As you do this, I do sort of recommend sort of pushing your heel into the floor and trying to put your foot flat out straight. That will just let you get the best possible tension all the way up the top front of the boot. And you can see here that ankle is very properly locked in now. This lacing structure is really going to help lock in that ankle in the bottom of the boot, especially if you've not got a taller boot like I'm wearing in these videos. Surgeon's loop followed by a top hook cross is really going to lock that into place. I did discover this while sort of doing this professionally. These are 2 techniques that I've combined, and if you sort of take a look around, I'm in a field of wild garlic, so I found it fitting to call the lacing structure the wild garlic lock. Thank you for watching. Hopefully your boots fit a lot better now. I'll see you in the next video.